Most Wanted. For this retrospective, I'll be talking about the original Most Wanted. I don't consider the 2012 incarnation to be worthy of the Most Wanted name, so let's dive in. Most Wanted 2005 tried to combine the best of the Underground series and Hot Pursuit games. The ability to create fast daily drivers and race your opponents, being hunted by the police in the process. And guess what? Black Box Studios outdid themselves with this title, creating a game that is both exciting and exhilarating. Most Wanted picks up with a much bolder tone than the Underground series. Here, it's not just about proving you're the fastest street racer. Now the stakes are very personal. You start in Rockport City, racing in local street events and building your reputation. Everything is going smoothly, until your rival, Razor, decides to play a dirty trick on you. I am surprised. He looked like a nice dude. You're the big shot of the streets, cruising, racing, and winning in your BMW M3 GTR, being guided by the lovely Mia. Razor shows up, challenges you to a race. Maybe because he is jealous that you have Mia's attention.
Bolt on or not, that ride is hot.
And proceeds to sabotage your ride. The car starts to spill oil everywhere until it stops.
You have to end the race fast.
And guess what? The cops show up out of nowhere. Not only you lose that beautiful BMW to Razor, leaving you broke, humiliated, and quite mad. Rightfully so. The police can't accuse you of street racing because you don't have a car. What's fair is fair. Mia doesn't miss to mention this.
Guess it's hard to nail you for street racing when you don't have a ride.
From that moment on, the story revolves around climbing the blacklist, the top 15 street racers in Rockport, with Razor holding the #1 spot. He got there with your BMW. Each blacklist racer has their own personality and signature car, which gives each confrontation its own flavor. You slowly rebuild your reputation, taking on one racer at a time, unlocking new cars, upgrades, and districts, all while the cops are constantly breathing down your neck. And yes, the cops here are a huge part of the story. They aren't just background obstacles. They're almost like characters themselves, with escalating levels of aggression as we climb the blacklist. Sergeant Cross is the worst stalker you could ask for. You can read in his eyes that he despises your guts and wants to see you in jail as soon as possible. The story hits its climax when you finally confront Razor at the top of the blacklist. After a series of intense races across the city, including high-speed chases with the police in town, you get to the ultimate showdown. Beating him isn't just about skill. It's about proving you've earned your place back on the streets, reclaiming your car, and showing that you belong at the top. Once Razor is defeated, the game gives a satisfying sense of closure, and the scene where Razor loses his mind and is put down by Mia, who turns out to be an undercover cop, was very, very satisfying. You're no longer just a nobody. You are the most wanted street racer in Rockport. With this title comes the last challenge, a police chase that is going to give you a serious headache. These guys are maniacs. They would do absolutely anything to stop you, take your car and freedom. Fortunately, you get a call from Mia, and she tells you a new area has opened and you can go there to escape the police. Luckily, at the end of the chase, you have to jump a bridge, which you successfully do and escape those sadistic policemen. I can say that Sergeant Cross is pretty crossed about this.
Everyone!
Most Wanted's story is more thrilling and cinematic than anything in Underground 1 or 2, mixing revenge, personal stakes, and police drama. It gives you motivation beyond just winning races. Every victory feels like a step in reclaiming your identity and respect. It's the kind of revenge fantasy that only a street racing game from the early 2000s could pull off. balancing the over-the-top action with genuine street cred vibes. The action is quite cheesy sometimes, but I love it. And who didn't have a major crush on Mia? Let's talk about the strengths of Most Wanted. Racing in Most Wanted is more exhilarating than ever before, and it all comes down to the stakes, mainly the police. In the early stages, the cops are a bit of a joke. You can zip around, blow past them, and easily escape them with some quick driving. But as your wanted level rises and you start taking down more of the blacklist, the cops go from being an occasional nuisance to full-on nightmares. As you climb the ranks and heat level goes beyond 2, the police ramp up their tactics. Spike strips, roadblocks, helicopters, and even SWAT teams begin to hunt you down with ruthless efficiency. It's like you're constantly on the edge of getting caught, and it turns the game into this pulse-pounding race where escaping the cops becomes harder than beating the actual racers. That's when it feels like the real challenge kicks in. What starts as a simple getaway turns into this insane game of cat and mouse. And suddenly, the pursuit is more intense than the race itself. By the time you're wanted at level 5, it's nearly impossible to escape without taking massive risks, adding a whole new layer of thrill. There's nothing more satisfying than shaking off the cops at the last second, narrowly avoiding that spike strip or crashing through a barricade. But the real star of Most Wanted isn't just the adrenaline of outrunning the cops. It's how speed is presented. The game does an incredible job of making you feel like you're flying down the street. The graphics make it feel like you're tearing through Rockport at 500 kilometers per hour. The world around you blurs with motion as you hit the nitrous, with the camera shaking and the screen warping like you're barely holding it together. When you punch that nitrous button, it's as if you're blasting into the next dimension. The streets start to feel like a blur, and the only thing keeping you grounded is your ability to stay focused on the road ahead. If you can stay on the road, that is. It's not just fast. It feels faster than anything you've ever experienced in a racing game. On top of that, the gritty, edgy vibe of the visuals perfectly complements this high-speed madness. Rockport City is harsh and rough, with its industrial zones, graffiti-laced streets, and broken-down urban landscapes. It's very different from the neon-lit cities of earlier Need for Speed games. This city looks like it's been through a war, and you're racing right through it. The sun beats down on the cracked pavement, reflecting off the steel beams and tall buildings. It's dirty, it's lived in, and it makes you feel like you're in a place where everything could break down at any second. And let's not forget the music, because honestly, the soundtrack in Most Wanted is like the heart that beats through this game. Tracks like Blood and Thunder by Mastodon, Skinny Man by Static X, and Blind in Chains by Avenged Sevenfold. Add the perfect punch you need to keep going, and have the right amount of motivation to beat every Blacklist member and, more importantly, escape the police. This game is seriously angry. The music and visuals work together to make every second feel like you're in a high-speed thriller, where every decision could be the one that either lands you a win or gets you caught. The cops, the roads, the city, they all add to the atmosphere, and the intensity of the game is never compromised. Whether you're racing for the top spot on the blacklist, running from the law, or just flying through Rockport, Most Wanted delivers one of the most exhilarating racing experiences you can find. The handling in Most Wanted feels looser compared to earlier titles, adding a level of unpredictability. Cars slide more, and sharp corners can be tricky, which can be frustrating at first. But this makes the driving experience more dynamic and forces you to adapt. One helpful feature is the speed breaker. which slows everything down when you're about to crash, giving you a chance to recover and avoid wrecking. It adds a layer of strategy, especially in tight moments. On top of that, pursuit breakers give you another way to escape police chases by using objects in the environment, like construction sites or gas stations, to disrupt the cops and buy you some time. While the handling can feel chaotic at times, the speed breaker and pursuit breakers make it more forgiving, keeping the experience exciting and fast-paced without being overly punishing. To challenge a blacklist member in Most Wanted, you first need to build up your bounty by winning races and completing various events throughout Rockport City. As you rack up victories, your reputation grows and your bounty increases, drawing the attention of the police. You'll take on a mix of race events like circuit, sprint, and drag races, each testing your speed and skill in different ways. You'll also face challenges like lap knockout, where the last racer is eliminated each lap, and speed trap events that reward high average speeds. As your bounty rises, the police heat intensifies, and you'll need to balance your focus on winning races and escaping the law in order to get closer to taking down each blacklist member. Some people complain that the narrative doesn't last long enough, but for me, it was just right. The pacing is quick, and it doesn't drag on. You get straight to the action, and before you know it, you're facing the final blacklist member. Sure, a little more depth in the story wouldn't have hurt, but I think stretching it out would have made it feel like filler. It's a racing game, not an RPG, and the shorter story works for the vibe the game is going for. Now let's talk about the things that annoy me in Most Wanted. I'll start with the absence of drift races. Drifting felt incredibly satisfying in Underground and Underground 2, where it was a core part of the driving experience and rewarded style as much as skill. Pulling off long, controlled slides around tight corners gave those games a unique rhythm and personality. In Most Wanted, however, drift events are completely missing. It's disappointing at first, especially for players who enjoyed mastering that technique. Still, it does make sense within the game's identity. Most Wanted is all about raw speed, aggressive racing, and getting from one point to another as fast as possible. In that context, drifting becomes more of a liability than an advantage, trading precision and momentum for style, which the game deliberately pushes to the background. Also, we didn't exactly escape the infamous rubberbanding AI in Most Wanted, just like we saw in Underground and Underground 2. It's as frustrating as ever. No matter how much of a lead you get, the AI always seems to be right on your tail. It's not just in the races with the blacklist members. It's in pretty much every event. You can be cruising ahead, hitting perfect corners, and then out of nowhere, the AI comes charging at you. It feels like the game is more about racing against the clock and the AI's ability to catch up, rather than just focusing on your own skill. Police chases are one of the most thrilling parts of Most Wanted, but they also have their downsides. At first, the chases are rubbish. You feel like you're trying to escape toddlers. But once you build up your bounty and the heat increases, the police can become so relentless that it feels like you're just spinning your wheels. The stakes get higher, but sometimes escaping the cops becomes more of a chore than a part of the fun. It starts to feel like a never-ending game of cat and mouse, where the rewards don't always feel worth the effort. When it comes to customization, the options in Most Wanted are definitely more limited than what we've got in the previous two games. There's no denying that the body kits look better, though. The cars in Most Wanted have a more aggressive and sleek look compared to Underground and Underground 2, and the modifications you can make to the exterior are more polished and refined. But if you were hoping to go crazy with your car like you could in the earlier games, you're going to be disappointed. It's still fun to customize your ride, but it's not as deep as it once was. One thing I've got to mention about Most Wanted is the Sepia Filter that it uses throughout the game. It gives everything this washed-out orange-brown tint, which honestly makes the game look a bit uglier than it could have. The colors aren't as vibrant as they should be, and it can really hurt the visual appeal, especially in a game that's supposed to showcase high-speed racing through a dynamic city. The filter can make everything feel kind of dull, and sometimes it distracts from the fun atmosphere. That said, there's an easy fix for this. You can disable the visual treatment in the options menu. Turn that off, and suddenly, the game looks way better. The colors pop more, and the whole game feels more vibrant, bringing the environments and cars to life like they were meant to. It's a simple change, but it makes a huge difference in how the game looks and feels. So, if you're not a fan of the filter, don't worry. You can easily get rid of it and enjoy the game in its full visual glory. Most Wanted is a very good game, and it brought some much-needed shakeups to the series. The introduction of police chases, the aggressive AI, and the pursuit of the Blacklist members added a new layer of intensity to the racing formula. It's no wonder it's regarded by many as the best Need for Speed game. It has everything that makes a racing game great, from the thrill of high-speed chases to tight, edge-of-your-seat racing. For a lot of people, it's the pinnacle of the franchise, and I can see why. But for me, it's not quite the best. It was my first introduction to police in a racing game, and back then, I just wanted to cruise around the map, enjoy the sights, and race in peace. The idea of being constantly hunted by the cops wasn't something I was too fond of at first. But as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate what the game did with that system. It's a big part of what makes Most Wanted stand out from its predecessors. Even though I might not consider it the absolute best, I still hold this game in high regard. It's one of my all-time favorites, and it's a game that I'll always come back to. From its unforgettable soundtrack to its pulse-pounding races, Most Wanted captured the essence of what makes racing games exciting. It may not have been perfect, but for me, it will always have a special place in my heart.